Okay, so a 22-year-old nursery worker, I mean, I'm about to put my cross away, but I need to keep it out after you hear this story, has been jailed for 8 years for multiple counts of child cruelty after abusing 21 babies, bruv. And guys, we've got the footage. Like, it is troubling. It's troubling. We're on the Met Police website, but we've got some footage here. Let's take a look at it, bruv. It's pretty troubling, bro. As you guys can see here, look. She vapes. Hear what she does. They don't release other footage, but it's her just vaping and blowing the smoke from the vape in the baby's face. She's blowing the smoke from the vape in babies' faces. She pinches babies. There's so many other allegations here. Not allegations, things that she's been found guilty of. And this was done in January, February, March, May, June 2024, 10 a.m. She's doing this. And nurseries are freaking expensive, guys. Nurseries are like over £1,000 a month full time, especially for a kid under the age of 2. So these parents, not only are they not getting their money's worth, their children are being subject to cruelty. And she was charged with cruelty to children under the age of 16. Roxana Lecker, this future serial killer in the making, this sick bitch from Hounslow as well, which is mental. She's from fucking Hounslow. All right. Admitted 7 counts of cruelty to a person under the age of 16 and was convicted after a trial of another 14 counts. Over her gracious and sadistic actions at 2 nurseries, she was found not guilty on 3 counts. Her crimes were discovered in June last year after she was sent home for pinching a number of children at Riverside Nursery in Twickenham, southwest London. Now, we're actually going to take a look at this nursery. I mean, if I was this nursery, I would just do a complete. I mean, now they're still doing their open day in November 2025. They're still doing their open day. They don't seem to care. Twickenham Park Nursery. I think that's got to be it, right? Or maybe they've already changed the name now. Is it? Hold on a second. Riverside Nursery in Twickenham. Yeah, that's the nursery, the one in Twickenham. They're still doing their open days. I would do a rebrand if I was these guys. Like, it's mental. Obviously, it's not the nursery's fault, but at the same time, this can't be happening. You know, you got to do better vetting of your employees. Clearly, this is a future serial killer. I'll be real. You see me, guys. I like crazy gal. You know what I mean? Like, I've always had a thing for crazy women, bro. You know what I mean? It's kind of not gone away. You know, deep down, I know they're not good for me. They just bring chaos. Maybe it's because I'm kind of a very laid back, peaceful person. I don't like, not much happens in my life, bro. Like, I just like peace. I really do like my peace. But then I have to question myself. I say, do I really like my peace? Because anyway, but just take it from someone. It's in the eyes. It's in the eyes. There's nothing but craziness in those eyes. I'm telling you, like, there's a reason with me when it comes to I know crazy. Right? I don't know if it's because I'm crazy myself, because I've dealt with a lot of crazy, but when it comes to women and craziness, bruv, I just have to look in the eyes or I have to speak to them for 5 seconds and I can tell you are probably crazy. Parents of her victims told of their feelings of heartbreak, guilt, and distrust in victim impact statements at Kingston Crown Court. And of course, they're paying all. I'd be like, bruv, I'm paying so much money and you're blowing smoke in my kid's face, bruv. You look crazy. You committed multiple acts of gratuitous, that's the word, violence. Sorry, guys, it's just turned 6 a.m. I've recorded a bunch of videos today, but you pinched, slapped, punched, smacked, and kicked them. You pulled their ears, hair, and their toes. You toppled children headfirst into cots. You caused bruising and lingering red marks. And why they even launched a probe into this, well, the nursery, they looked into it, is because parents were complaining about random bruises on their kid. And they're like, why did my kids getting random bruises? And this sick bitch, I mean, you know, I need to be careful, bruv. You know, when you're dealing with the crazy, like, she's gonna be out in 4 years. And she might come and just, God knows what she'll do, fam. You know what I mean? God knows what she'll do. When you committed these acts of cruelty, you would look at the other members of staff to make sure they were not watching you. Meaning she knows what she's doing is not acceptable. Often the child would be quietly and happily minding their own business before you deliberately inflicted pain, causing the child to cry, arch, try to get away, or writhe around in distress. Now, I mean, I don't know about you, but if I was working in a nursery, I would not want the children to be crying because I feel like that would make my job a little bit easier. But you know what they say, fam? I mean, if I went into a nursery and there was a bunch of men there, I'm gonna walk straight back out and I'm gonna make a phone call to the police probably. I mean, I'm never gonna do that. But you guys get what I'm getting at in it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be concerned if you see a nursery full of men working. You know what I'm saying? But with her, yeah, like we always say, like, you know, you trust a nursery full of women if it's all women working in there. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be thinking like, this makes you think a little bit. You know what I mean? Because there's even another case of a woman who was arrested for sexual abuse at a nursery in a small town. I can find the article if I want to, but no, it's like she's just arrested for sexual abuse and they're just still doing their investigations. There's not much that the article says. But it says she pinched several children dozens of times in the course of one day, causing them to cry and flinch away from her, the CPS previously said. On one occasion, she kicked a little boy in the face several times. She was also seen to push baby's head first over cots and cover over a toddler's mouth when they started to cry. Police said she had how can you do that? Like, babies are helpless, bro. Like that's the next title for the next paragraph we're gonna read. The babies are helpless. Police said she abused children at 2 nurseries between October 2023 and June 2024. One of the counts relate to Little Munchkins in Hounslow. Let's take a look at Little Munchkins. This is Little Munchkins nursery in Hounslow. That's Little Munchkins. These nurseries, I mean, come on, guys, better due diligence here. I mean, it's good they have the cameras at least. It's good they have the cameras, but come on, with the remainder linked to Riverside, which has since closed. Okay, so Riverside Nursery closed. Or maybe they did a rebrand. I don't know. I just saw something that said an open day, but totally helpless. A number of parents took to the stand on Friday to address a packed out call over the impact of her abuse. One mother looked directly at Lekka as she said, these children were so innocent and vulnerable. They couldn't speak, they couldn't defend themselves, and they couldn't tell us as parents that something had happened to them. They were totally helpless, and Roxana preyed upon them. Now, you see with kids, bro, listen, kids are cute, man. You know what I mean? Like, kids, they're just, you know, they're so innocent and that, like, you just want to take care of them. You just want to see them smile. You just want to, you know, play with them, bruv. But people who see kids and think, let me harm them, let me fuck them, you know, certain fucking sick fuckers that we're gonna make a video on one of them. And we're gonna make a video on one of them today as well, you know, because these sickos need to be exposed. These people need to be removed from society. Because you cannot live amongst people if you seeing a child, you think to do these things or you do these things. This is some fucked up shit. This is some real fucked up shit. Threat to society. Another mother, referencing the CCTV footage, said this really highlighted how defenseless all the children were and how sickening Roxana's crimes were to target such young babies. A different mother said, I think she is a huge threat to society. So do I. I'm thinking she shouldn't be out in 4 years because what has to be going on in there for you to be doing that? What makes you want to do that? How fucked up is your thought process for you to want to do that? That's where the concern comes for me. It is objectively shocking that she has been hiding in plain sight in society up until she was arrested. I think all of us can agree that only the worst kind of human would assault vulnerable babies. Absolutely correct, parent. Parents detailed the guilt they felt about placing their children in her care. Of course, parents are going to feel guilty. They're going to be thinking, oh my God, my baby, like, you were there, this, that. I remember when I was in nursery, I used to go to, I mean, you guys know, Northwest, where we grew up, fam. It's where we grew up. I went to this nursery called Happy Child. It was in Roundwood. I went to this nursery, yeah, and there was one lady in there I couldn't stand. Her name wasn't, I forgot what her name was, yeah? I forgot what her name, but she was not nice, bruv. She was not a happy person, bruv. And you know what it is? It's like, it's because she never had kids of her own. That's what my mum told me as I got older, because it's like she never had kids of her own, but she ended up having her kid. My mum ended up seeing her not long ago. And even when I was in freaking, what's it called? Like, secondary school, bruv, which is crazy. 2 nursery employees recognized me. They were like, is that my government name? And I'm like, who the hell? They're like, oh, we used to work in we used to work in your nursery. I'm thinking, who the fuck are you? How the fuck is, you know what I mean? It was confusing. I don't get it, but big up them nursery workers. You know what I mean? And we're at that age. I was at that age where puberty was kicking in, so I was like, damn, like, you know what I mean? But in my nursery, yeah, there was, what did I say? They told me off because when that lady who wasn't in, I said, I'm happy she's not in. And obviously they told my mum, like, oh, no, you shouldn't be saying that, da da da. And my mum always asks me, whenever that comes up, we ain't probably spoken about that in years, but she'll always ask me, like, did that woman ever hit you? Did she ever, like, do anything? You know what I mean? Because she just had her suspicions. She said, like, she'd always say, like, did she ever do anything to anything like that? And I say, I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't think she did. I don't think I was ever, harmed when I was younger. But it's just questions that my mum asks. You know what I mean? And I just know that my mum would feel so fucking guilty. Or, my mum would probably kill her. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean, then I wouldn't have a mum. My mum would be in prison for freaking manslaughter, loss of control. You know what I'm saying? That would have been fucked up. Parents detailed the guilt they felt. We weren't there to protect. The court heard one family has moved away from London altogether, while other sets of parents have suffered breakdowns in their relationship after Lekker's. Of course you are. It's gonna be like, why did you put her in the nursery? Why did you put our child in that nursery? You know what I mean? Lekker's solicitor, and let's take a look at who she is. All right, well, Arlette Piercy has been instructed in a number of high-profile cases. Here she is, background, a number of years working in the House of Commons as a researcher and campaigns officer. We don't really give a shit, man. The woman, you got to do what you got to do. Everyone's entitled to a defense. She said her client had expressed remorse and cited her previous good character and young age. Remorse. Does this look remorseful to you? Listen.
Told us that you kicked one of the kids in the face. So what if there was a serious injury to that baby that could have caused it more harm down the line? 4 weeks later, we're here again. Have you got any empathy for any children or any of the ones you've assaulted?
No comment.
You've not told us about kicking that kid in the face when we showed you the CCTV last time, did you?
No comment.
No. There's no empathy at all, is there?
No comment.
No remorse.
No comment.
It's just completely outrageous that we have to go back to parents and say we've spoken to you and you've sat here going no comment. You've shown no emotion, no remorse, nothing to go back to them and say, look, we've seen what she's done. She's shown remorse. She's apologetic. She said whatever. You've just sat and got no comments. So I'm going to go back to each parent and tell them, we spoke to you, just sat here emotionless, nothing at all. For these babies, these are children. You are effectively abusing children, physically abusing children, and you have got nothing but no comment to say. And I've just never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's troubling. It's troubling, man. Obviously, that's a whole bunch of bacon in the room, like stuff for Allah. But I can only imagine, like, having to deal with monsters like this, because she's a monster. She's a monster. She's a monster. What else is said? The monster. She had been attacked in custody, she says. Lekker had been attacked in custody. Good. What else did they hear? The court heard Lekker wrote a letter to the court saying she had reflected on her actions, wanted to apologize to parents, and that cannabis turned her into a different person. Well, this could be psychosis. Maybe she had a psychosis. Maybe she had it actually, because if you have like schizophrenia running in your family, which I don't think, because they would have mentioned that in court if it ran in her family, of course, they would have mentioned that in court. But it increases your chances if you smoke weed to develop psychosis, where you actually are not in the right state of mind. If that's the case, you're still mad, fam. You know what I mean? I'll be real. Like, come on, like people with schizophrenia. Like, I need to understand. Like, one of my closest brethren, he had a schizophrenic episode. He would never do things like this. You know what I mean? He would never have done things like this. Now thinking about it, there was a situation, but he never ended up doing it. But that's something to think about. I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe the weed did turn her like that. You know what I mean? Because weed can turn you like that if you're smoking bad stuff or if you've got schizophrenia or psychotic, mental things that run in your family. But her solicitor told the court that she had been attacked in custody, describing her experience in prison as having been extremely challenging, and said that she had spent time in the vulnerable prisoners wing. Well, of course, the women, like, imagine going into a women's prison and they're like, you were doing that to babies. Of course, you're not going to have a good time.
Early in the morning. Early in the morning.
I'm saying W prisoners though, man. She worked at Riverside University. We know that. The court heard she was addicted to cannabis and vaping around the time, which she did not tell the nursery. Detective Inspector Sean Hutchings from the Met Police said today's sentencing concludes a complex and emotional investigation. The victims in this case are just babies, with the youngest being just 10 months at the time. Guys, 10 months at the time. What else? Is there new footage? Did they say anything in here?
He seems to be crying. Sorry, am I boring you?
No, sorry, no.
No.
No. I'm listening.
Is this someone with
On the
remorse?
mattress. He seems to be crying. Sorry, am I boring you?
No, sorry, no.
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 Well, it's reality didn't hit her. In the mugshot, she looks content. She looks like, she looks content. She looks content. Now she's probably thinking, shit, I'm gonna have to do 4 years in here, where people are gonna see me as somebody who was cruel to babies, abused babies. Oh, poor you. Nobody told you to do that. She said officers investigating were shocked at a lack of accountability and their inability to explain their unjustifiable actions. I want to commend the strength of the parents throughout this investigation. I can't imagine how horrendous it's been to sit in court and listen to the abuse that she inflicted on their children. I can't imagine either. I mean, I'm surprised the parents ain't putting money on her head in jail. Quite frankly. Honestly. The lawyer representing the family said those parents supporting remain devastated by the ordeal their children have been put through by this psycho. She abused her position of trust in the cruelest way over a number of months. She said that while families welcomed her sentence, serious questions remain as to how her abuse was allowed to go unchecked for several months. Our focus is now on securing families who will be affected by her actions for years to come, with the further answers they deserve, she added. And yeah, I mean, at least this thing is going to be off the streets for 4 years. Don't think that's really justice, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Chung-Li, what do you think? Chung-Li says, Chung-Li's lost for work. Chung-Li, you're not even speaking English. What? Chung-Li's speaking. I don't even know. Chung-Li's crying. That's why I couldn't understand you. Chung-Li's crying. Oh my God. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love to every single one of you guys watching, and have fun in jail. I'm sure you'll have a great time in there.